Welcome. Elected by my faculty colleagues, I have the honor to serve as Grand Marshal at this year's commencement. Here now before you are the degree candidates of Stella and Charles Guttman Community College. In the presence of President Scott Evenbeck, Provost Howard Walk, Dr. John King, CUNY trustees Clark and Shorter, student trustee John, Manhattan Borough President Gale Brewer, and other distinguished guests, and of course, the proud families and friends of our graduates, I hereby direct the 5th annual commencement of Stella and Charles Guttman Community College to begin. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Lorena McKenzie, a first-year Guttman student from Queens. Lorena is an urban studies major. She plans to become a defense attorney. When she isn't singing, she is studying, and she does both really well. Lorena will now sing verses from America the Beautiful and lift every voice and sing. May I ask the audience to rise and feel free to sing or hum along.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
If everyone could please be seated. The invocation will now be delivered by Joseph Witherspoon and Miguel Almonte Hidalgo, members of the class of 2018, and 2 fine spokesmen for the Guttman's Young United Men of Color group.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph.
I am Miguel.
And we would like to welcome all the families, faculty, and students to this year's commencement ceremony.
Okay, today is the day. The day in which we can repeat to ourselves, I made it. The day we get some taste of how much we have achieved, perhaps even how further we can reach. We are what success looks like. Wait, let me say that again. We are what success looks like. That's what I'm talking about. And we are each in a better position now to define for ourselves what success means. As we prepare to move on to greater things, labor, education, and life in general, we must acknowledge the change on who we were when we arrived at Guttman and who we have become. Most importantly, today is a day we can begin to think about how we wish to become tomorrow, who we wish to become tomorrow. I was told by a friend, you have to believe in something for it to become your reality. And so I did. I speak English today because I believed I could. It took me 2.5 years to achieve my #1 goal, to graduate from Guttman. There were many times when I almost gave up. It took perseverance, faith, and the support of others for me to get off of my failures. And today, we acknowledged all of those that helped us. Thank you.
The esteemed poet and MC Nas once said, "Turning nothing into something is God work, and you never get nothing without struggle and hard work." A rhyme simple in nature, yet so profound in meaning when analyzed within the context of our young collegiate careers. No mere mortal is responsible for orchestrating the grand symphonies of life, and we must give thanks to the Most High for opening doors for us in even the most dismal situations. But as we give thanks, we must remember that it is up to us to get up each and every day and put in the effort to walk through those doors. As graduates of Guttman, I commend all of you for putting forth that effort in every classroom discussion, homework assignment, extracurricular activity, and so on. However, know that the hard work has only just begun. The days of being scolded for eating in the info comments for the 3rd time this week are over. And they will soon be replaced with new experiences as we continue to pursue our academic and personal goals. Transitioning into the next stages of our lives will require the same passion and fervor that brought all of us to this room today, regardless of your nationality, ethnicity, religious beliefs, gender, or the color of your skin. Your individual success is contingent upon what you believe that you have the ability to do. So I implore all of you to continue to be exceptional and rise above the limits that the world may try to place upon you. The road ahead may be long, but the hardest step on any journey is the first. And every student in this room deserves to be applauded on a phenomenal first step.
And before we go, we would like to say thank you to all the parents, students, and friends who are here today. And let's not forget the faculty and staff at Guttman for making this day happen and for always reminding us that we can. Thank you.
And let us not forget UMOC, our United Men of Color Initiative, for always being there and supporting young men of color unconditionally through their academic careers and helping us get to where we are today. Thank you, and welcome again.
That was awesome.
It is my honor now to call President Scott Evenbeck to the podium.
Welcome students, distinguished guests, families, and friends. These students are Guttman's 5th graduating class. This ceremony is an important milestone for these graduates, and it's an important milestone for all of us here today, especially for families and friends. Thank you for being here. Let's all thank them for being here. I would like to recognize some very special friends of the college. Several trustees of the Guttman Foundation are here. Ernie Rubenstein, Lizzie Cream, Dan Herbert, Susan Butler-Plum, and Executive Director Suzanne Souza. You honor us with your attendance. Also with us today are Beth Leaf, Executive Director of the Carol and Milton Petrie Foundation, which supports our Student Emergency Fund, and an important new food insecurity program managed by our single-stop office. Randy Moore, formerly a student success advocate at Guttman, who is now Vice President for Post-Secondary Partnerships at the Here to Here Foundation, joined by Chloe Evans-Cross at that foundation, are here today, as is Jim Cochran from Chase, who's become a much valued partner to our college. And I welcome Dr. Aitza Clinton Citron Velez from the Russell Sage Foundation. She is now on our college's Research and Advisory Council. Will the persons I just named please stand so we can thank you for your presence? Along with CUNY trustee Oona Clark, who will speak in a few minutes, we are honored by the attendance of trustees Charles Shorter and John Adaramo. Would you please stand so we can thank you? Finally, our college's own foundation board. Lisette Nieves, our president, Susan Butler Plum, Wendy Deasy, Dahl Forsyth, Lisa Gomez, Steve Lesser, Mark Perlmutter, Alejandra Soto, and Cynthia Rivera Weissboom. Thank you so much. Will you all please stand? Our foundation president, Lisette Nieves, will now greet you. Lisette.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right. First of all, my name is Lisette Nieves, and I have the honor of chairing the trustee board for Guttman. And I have the honor of recognizing all of you today. Congratulations, graduates. I want to ask a few questions on behalf of the board. Can you stand if you're the first in your family to go to college? Please stand. Yeah, great. Thank you. Take a seat. Can you stand if you've counted on the support of Guttman faculty and your family to get you to this point? Thank you. I too share that narrative of support and being a first generation. And as I offer welcoming remarks, I want to say a couple of things about where we are right now. We're at Hostos Community College, and Eugenio Hostos was a radical educator who believed that Latino educational excellence was the norm and not the exception. All right? He was in Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, education leaders on the best practices to make sure education was available to all. So I believe we all stand on his shoulders. Let's give him applause. I was told to keep my remarks brief, but as a proud Boricua, I can't help but look at the CUNY talent that is in front of us. I'm so proud. There is no better day than today. But I will say one thing about going forward. Going forward right now is about you navigating environments where you need to do three things. One, find peers that support you along your journey. Two, reach out to faculty in their office hours before there's an issue. Three, apply to every internship you can so that you can leverage your educational experience and have the best professional outcome. So with those three pieces of advice, I leave you with this. May all of you know that you stand on the shoulders of excellence, that you now inspire excellence, and that you are the dreams realized for so many of your family members. Bless you all and congratulations.
Thank you, Lisa. It's now my pleasure to ask CUNY trustee Oona Clark to come to the podium. I've had the honor to serve on a committee for some years with Oona, who chairs the Trustees Student Affairs Committee, and I can tell you that there's no one who asks tougher questions or who is a stronger supporter than Trustee Clark. We're honored that she's with us today. Well.
Good morning. Good morning. A little bit stronger. Good morning. This is a good day. President Evanbach, to the Board of Trustees, to the faculty and staff, to anyone that had anything to do with today's graduation by touching the lives of our student, on behalf of the City University of New York, I come to congratulate you and to thank you for your achievement. I just want to tell you a story, and I tell my story everywhere I go. I am not just a first generation, I am a foreign student that became an American. And so I just want to let all of you know I wanted to go out and make some trouble, because we have some troublemakers in Washington right now that is making bad trouble, and I wanted to go out and make some good trouble. I came to America during the troubled time of the Civil Rights Movement, and nobody had to tell me where to cast my lot. I didn't want anybody struggling on my behalf, and I was not a part of the struggle. I became a member of the International Students Union on Riverside in Manhattan, and wherever the bus was going, I took my British passport with me, and then when anybody asked me, "Who are you?" I showed them the message from Her Majesty the Queen, which says I am a subject and that I should move freely in the United States of America. So that was my first trouble that I started to make, because I did not believe in segregation. So you, the students here today, you are in a good position. You can use your Twitter, you can use your email, you can make trouble, whatever good trouble you want to make, because we have to turn a lot of things upside down. I want you to be able to restore my Social Security. I want you to be able to restore my Medicaid and my Medicare, and you're going to have to make trouble. And so you're going to have to make some good trouble on behalf of us, the seniors, who struggled to put you here today. So I come to thank your parents, your friends, and anyone who encouraged you along this journey. Know that your journey is just beginning. Some of you may decide that you want to go to work, go to work. Some of you may see this as the stepping stone towards your PhD in science and math. Let it be. Please know that CUNY is behind you all the way. You have had the benefit of Guttman with all of the support that you've gotten to bring you to this point today. And I want you to be grateful of all the persons who've invested in you and in your education. Don't be selfish. Give back. Here I am in my old age, trying to give back, because for those who have got much, much is desired of you. And I could not have come as a student if somebody didn't teach me how to get a green card. I wouldn't get a green card. If somebody didn't tell me it's time to become a citizen, I probably would still be looking around and wondering what's happening and what I should be doing. So I take every step of the way. I learned something, but I never was selfish in what I got. I gave back. And so I want to send a loud message to Washington. Immigrants of color don't have anything behind their name. We came, we made America great because it was great when we come, so we don't need to make America great again. So when I tell you I want you to go out and make some good trouble, stand up on your own. You have the education, you have the drive, and you have the intelligence. Make trouble, make good trouble. Change the world because you have it in your hands to do. And so again, on behalf of CUNY, I congratulate you all, your friends, your family, and everyone who ever supported you to be sitting here today. And I look forward, I want you to see me someplace and say, guess what? I'm in a PhD program. And I will say to you, can I help you with your term paper? I have some papers stacked up, you know, that I want to give away. I have some term papers stacked away for those of you who desire to look at a term paper and then for your next step. So again, congratulations all to faculty and staff. I want to thank you for your patience, your love. I know how young people have sharp tongues, and I know you had to take the sharp tongue from some of them, but look at what you've produced today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Clark. Someone who's been with us for each commencement, someone who always remembers the students that she met at the previous commencement, someone who could not be some more supportive of Stella and Charles Guttman Community College is the Manhattan Borough President, Gale Brewer. It gives me great honor to introduce her to you.
Thank you very much. It is an honor to celebrate the 2018 graduating class of Guttman Community College. Congratulations on this milestone and good morning. No student, however bright and hardworking, gets to this point alone, as you have heard. So I want to thank President Evan Beck and the faculty and the staff for all that you do for the Guttman students. And just like everyone else, I want to thank the family and friends of today's graduates. As Oona Clark said, it is perhaps an understatement to say that you are graduating in interesting times. Things are changing rapidly in our world, and those changes are going to impact the lives you're going to lead. In a time of rapid change, your world will be shaped by many factors, but I have picked three: climate change, technology, and demographics, and I'll be very quick. Climate change. About 150 years ago, in the 1880s, scientists, or maybe weather nerds, had instruments recording daily temperatures all around the world. And if you compile and you analyze the data, and I know you know how to do that, you can get it from NASA or anywhere else. If we examine the average of those temperatures over 150 years, we found that the last cooler than average month was 30 years ago in 1984. And guess what? Last month, here in the world, it was the warmest month of May in the United States history. That's not necessarily good. And the previous record was during the Dust Bowl crisis of the Great Plains in 1934. Rising global temperatures will have a profound effect on your lives. You all know about the Arctic and the North and the South Poles where warming is taking place. You graduates have your work cut out for you, but it is an opportunity to be in a world that figures out how to address these challenges so we don't have more storms like Superstorm Sandy. But it's not all bad news. Your generation is more attuned to caring for the planet than any before. You know that humans should try to stop or slow climate change, unlike that guy in Washington. Events like the March for Science show us that young people believe it is our responsibility and that you will be the front lines to show our city and our country how to deal with climate change. The second issue that's evolving is technology. It changes. It's going to become an even bigger part of your daily lives. Think about it. When you were born, there were no iPhones, no Wi-Fi, no YouTube, no Instagram, no Facebook, no Twitter. And now, no tool is more important in our lives than our smartphone. We've all seen Black Panther. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to see Wakanda level technology, but you're going to see self-driving cars, smart homes, drones that check on building cornices, and flying taxis. They're going to make leaps and bounds in your lifetime, and it's challenging. What about the jobs? Do they change? From where I stand, digital tools, however, must serve the public good. Leaders of this, for instance, are creating tools that we use, like smart meters that record the winter temperature in apartments when owners don't protect us when it's cold. This data can show the owners that heat should be on. That's what good technology could be used for. And you'll find other ways. You're going to have the power as your generation to shape changes in your communities more than anybody else who has come before you. Let's look at demographics. By the year 2050 in the United States, you'll see a more diverse nation with white Americans being in the minority. The makeup of our population is shifting. In the last few years, there's been a rise in our immigrant population. More than 37% of New Yorkers today were born outside the United States. That's up from 28% in 1990. And in our great city, 3 million immigrants, about a third from Latin America, 27% from Asia, and 20% come from the non-Hispanic countries in the Caribbean. We are the greatest city of immigrants, and we know how important it is to the diversity of our culture. So finally, as someone who became of age in the 1960s, I know that was ancient history, I got used to fighting for change. My generation is inspired, just like Oona Clark said, to see you protesting injustice and organizing around the challenges we face. Those challenges make this a great time to be you, to be smart, to be young, to be motivated. In this moment in history, when we have so many challenges at the federal level, and we've seen the emergence of the paradigm shifting Time's Up, Me Too, millions of our fellow Americans' eyes have been opened. You have a generational opportunity to dismantle any machinery that has been oppressive in this nation in the past. But to do so, we need to reimagine some of the movements of the past and build stronger and louder efforts for what you want to see in our city and country. Sometimes the politics you need to do it is a politics of accommodation. But for me, it's more often the politics of perseverance, which you have learned here at Guttman. It's not the politics that encourages us to say we'll agree to disagree. It's the politics that says if you don't see essential justice of our cause today, you will see it tomorrow or the day after, or maybe in a year, because our cause is just. And I know that whatever cause you advocate for, it is just. Other generations of Americans have been called by other movements, the abolition movement, the women's suffrage movement, the civil rights movement, immigrant rights movement, LGBTQ movement, and now the anti-gun violence movement. So I'm looking to see what you do in the future. It could be climate change. It could be the future of technology, the power of diversity. They are all in your hands now. So as Guttman graduates, you are ready to do the job to make sure the change that you see serves the needs of the many and not the few. And I know you will be successful because you're also empathetic. You do not live in a bubble. You're New Yorkers. You know how to put yourself in someone else's shoes, how to be objective, and how not to be biased, but to be understanding. I congratulate you for all you've accomplished. I can't wait to see what you'll do next. And I look forward to a world made better by the education and values that you bring to it because you are Guttman graduates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gale. It's an honor to introduce Amy McIntosh, the Chief of Staff to the Interim Chancellor of CUNY and the Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Strategy. She brings us greetings from the CUNY Central Administration.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to share the stage today with CUNY trustees and so many Guttman College faculty and leaders and supporters and honorees. You know, exactly a week ago, I thanked Manhattan Borough President Gale Brewer for joining a different CUNY commencement. Gale, you're everywhere. Thank you so much for all you do for us. And I'm especially glad to see John King here today. John, who will speak to you in a little bit, was my boss 2 times in my career. Once when he was the New York State Commissioner of Education, and then more recently when he was Secretary of the U.S. Department of Ed. Those were very happy times for me. But my job today is to represent my current boss, the Interim Chancellor of the CUNY system, Vita Rabinowitz, and to bring the warmest greetings and congratulations from the central leadership of our university to today's graduates and their families. So the fact that so many of you are sitting here today is proud testimony to the vision that CUNY's leaders had back in, I think it was 2008, when they commissioned a planning team of big thinkers, outstanding educators, and national experts to invent an entirely new kind of community college. Let me specially acknowledge the leadership from the Guttman Foundation, including, you heard their names earlier, Ernie Rubenstein, who was the president when the first gift was made to the college, current president Susan Butler Plum, and executive director Suzanne Sousa. Thank you for your generosity. Today, the vision of that planning team has become Guttman Community College, and it has been brilliantly brought to its 5th commencement by President Evenbeck and the creative and dedicated faculty and staff of this wonderful place. Guttman is a college designed from the ground up to foster student success, and it does so by reinventing what it means to be a higher education community. Since the graduates in this audience don't know any other kind of college, you may not realize how special this place is. But I know it's special because I see the results that Guttman posts in terms of graduation rates. And I also know it's special because my job puts me in touch with education leaders across the nation. And when they hear that I'm from CUNY, they often ask, "Tell me more about Guttman. It seems really different, like revolutionary even." So I think we should all give your faculty and President Evenbeck a round of applause for what they've built here. So at Guttman, you have been both challenged and mentored, pushed and supported, stretched and nurtured. And with you, your faculty have challenged, supported, and stretched themselves. Together, you have become a tightly knit community of learners and scholars who have come to rely on each other as you each pursue your own goals. Graduates, whatever you do next, keep that community bond alive. Help each other as you move on. Reach out to Guttman students who came before, and those who come after you. I think that's what some of those blue and white lays mean. Stay in touch with your favorite faculty and staff. I promise you that the same Guttman magic that led you to your chairs here today will continue to support you in the years to come. I wish you all the best of luck, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish in the years ahead. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Rahul Ramirez, was in our first cohort of students in 2012. He was at our first convocation, August 20, 2012. I don't know if he remembers that date, but I remember it well. We're honored that he's joined us as the alumni speaker today. Welcome.
Good morning and congratulations to all of my Guttman Grizzly graduates, or Triple G's as I like to think of you. Graduates, the diploma you are to receive upon the finalization of your degree represents the proof and recognition of your intelligence, dedication, perseverance, patience, and fortitude. It was August 2014. I was right where you are now, sitting silently as I reflected on the first 2 years of my college experience here spent at Guttman. When the members of the inaugural class began at the new community college, Mayor Bloomberg gave the convocation speech, and the entire student body lined up on the front steps of the New York Public Library to have our photo taken. It was a historic day for CUNY and for me, a 28-year-old non-traditional student. Though I was uneasy about being practically the 10-year senior of everybody in the student body, I knew that the 289 of us were on the same journey together. And now, we are all Guttman alumni. I mentioned the patience and fortitude you've all demonstrated achieving this momentous goal. Well, coincidentally, the names of the two lions standing guard at the entrance of the library are named Patience and Fortitude. According to the New York Public Library website, note my citation, it was Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia who, in the 1930s, renamed the lions as tribute to the characteristics needed to survive the economic misfortunes ravaging Americans and New Yorkers alike during the Great Depression. No doubt, each of you has and will continue to overcome hurdles of your own. In addition to the daily drudgeries of life, you may find yourself facing seemingly insurmountable odds, be they academic, emotional, social, financial, or familial. What did me in after I left Guttman was my mental stability. I felt lost and run down. I was between jobs, working for scraps, and holding on by a thread. I was attending Brewer College only part-time, but it just wasn't working out. I realized Baruch, the community school with cool buildings, was just that. So I stepped away to gather myself. City College, spring 2016, I found myself back to school after a year off, 5 classes deep, and 2 of them I didn't like. One of which I mentally checked out of after standing my ground against the professor. I was overwhelmed, I didn't know what I was after. Of course, the notion of my degree was present, but I was questioning my identity. Was I a student only to acquire a diploma? While in the midst of my soul searching, my big sister, who is a proud mother of 4, dedicated wife and homemaker, as well as educator, was having difficulty juggling her business on top of everything else. Her business, now sold, was a food truck named Tu Madres, serving an Ecuadorian Rican cuisine that everybody absolutely loved. Yet, even with food as great as hers, she was a one-woman army. My vacations home included working the truck with my sister and assisting her with the necessary and endless shopping and preparation. Considering my 18 years in the hospitality industry, it was like second nature to me. The dilemma, however, came as I weighed the balance between staying in New York or moving back to Florida to help my sister. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, mid-spring, the last leg of the semester, finals looming and one wrong decision away from throwing my efforts down the drain, when I hear a quote, which I'll paraphrase, by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Perhaps it is at times when you lack both strength and courage that the clarity of our obligations supplies both. The clarity of obligations. So I began to contemplate and arrange my obligations. But first, I had to figure out what they were. Was I obligated to help my sister? If so, how much time would I have to sacrifice? No employment obligations because I was fired 2 weeks before the semester started. Friends, all of which have their own lives to live. The apartment was a sublet, so meaning no lease obligation, and I could hop a jet plane whenever I felt ready. I came to realize, though, that if I were to deter from the scholarly quest, one that I began in earnest, I might never discover who I am, what I might become, or or what new journey awaits me. In working towards a higher academic education, I learned that the greatest obligation was to myself. I finally understood that I was searching for myself through my education. Because of this, I am proud to inform you all that I just graduated cum laude with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, along with an American History minor to boot, as part of City College graduating class of 2018. Oh man, that felt good. That felt really good. Thanks, guys. Of course, many of you are feeling apprehensive about what the future holds for you. Many of you may not have plans after your graduation. I sure didn't. Do not be frightened at what you have yet to know. You've made it this far, have you not? When times get tough, I say remember your obligation to yourself. Put away your timidity and replace it with a daring spirit. Dare to be who you are and dare to find out who you are to become. We all have a path that leads to our own promised land, some clearer than others. Nevertheless, for a number of us, the considerable amount of time and experience awaiting our arrival there might seem to be stretched out like a smoldering, desolate desert road. And if it is, then I say, fear not, strap up your boots, pack some extra water, and get to hiking. With that being said, may I extend a very fond and warm welcome to all of you graduates to the Guttman Alumni Association. Thank you and Godspeed.
Thank you. Gabrielle Blevins will now deliver greetings from the Peer Mentoring Program. She's a member of the class of 2018. She has been a fantastic peer mentor.
Okay. Hello, classmates, supporters, faculty, and staff. I'm here to share the meaning of the lei that many of my fellow classmates are wearing today. Each lei was handmade by a peer mentor as a gift to you, fellow graduates. The lei is a Polynesian custom and gift given to individuals upon arriving or leaving. It is a symbol of affection. The peer mentors offer the lei to express congratulations. As we leave Guttman, the lei is given to signify the closing of this chapter, but it also honors the arrival of the next adventure. Again, on behalf of the peer mentors, I thank each of you for allowing us to be part of your Guttman experience. Aloha and congratulations.
Before I introduce the next speaker, I want to salute the foundation that gave the college its name. In 1959, Stella and Charles Guttman decided to direct and ultimately give the bulk of their family fortune to helping others. They established a philanthropic foundation, and in the 10 remaining years of their lives, they became important philanthropists, making a difference in our city. The earliest beneficiary of their charity was the Henry Street Settlement on the Lower East Side. Charles Guttman was his father's third child, but the first born in America in 1892. His family was from Romania, and like so many other immigrants, the Guttman family arrived in New York City with little more than the clothes on their backs and a tremendous ambition to live the American dream. They supported charities like the Henry Street Settlement that sought to improve the lives of persons and to increase their chances for success. Over the course of 6 decades, the Guttman Foundation has given close to $100 million to support many organizations in New York City. I believe Stella and Charles Guttman would be proud of the college and our students, and I know that they would be grateful to the trustees who've continued their philanthropic legacy. The president of the Guttman Foundation is Susan Butler Plum. I'm honored to ask her to bring you greetings.
Thank you. I never knew Stella and Charles Guttman, as they died long before I became a trustee and now president of the foundation they endowed. However, I know how proud they would be of the matriculation of each one of you who are graduating today. They did not have the enormous advantage of a college education, so they were devoted to the idea that their accumulated wealth should be used to enable those ambitious enough to want a college education. As the Guttmans were builders of great wealth, they would be particularly excited about the prospect of a new spacious building that we have been promised by CUNY. We look forward to all of us in this auditorium assembling again to celebrate the dedication and opening of that building in a very few years. We're very ambitious for our students and deeply believe in the magic of a Guttman College education and want to share it with many, many more students. I'm also a trustee of the Guttman College Foundation Board, which has allowed me to meet some of the exemplary students and faculty of our exceptional institution. I have been deeply moved by the idealism and optimism of the students I have met. What I have witnessed is a genuine enthusiasm for learning and discovery, fueled by intellectual curiosity. Please remember, luck is an acquired skill. This is a moment in our country and in our graduates' lives of defining conscience. If I could be permitted to offer one suggestion as your conscience evolves, please practice listening. It will deepen your empathy and enrich your lives and all of those whom you touch. Please accept my congratulations on all that you have achieved and my enduring pride in all that you will continue to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Your friendship and support for our students means a great deal. I now invite Hector Castillo Carvajal, the Student Government Association President, to speak. The students who serve executives in our student government are very special, and Hector exemplifies the very best of student leadership at Stella and Charles Guttman Community College and at CUNY. He was born in the Dominican Republic, came to New York City, returned to the DR, and then returned to New York City in 2014. He attended a transfer school to earn his high school diploma. 2 years later, in 2016, he came to Guttman, and he's made a remarkable record. It's an honor to welcome him to bring his greetings.
Good morning and congratulations to the 5th graduating class of Stella and Charles Guttman Community College. Buenos días y felicidades a la 5ª clase que hoy se gradúa del Colegio Comunitario Stella y Charles Guttman. First, I'd like for all of us to welcome and thank our friends and family for supporting us, pushing us, ensuring that we made it to this beautiful day, graduation day. I can honestly admit that I wouldn't be on the stage if it weren't for my mother's unshakable goal of seeing me become the first college graduate of my family. Papá, donde sea que usted esté, gracias por traerme a este país. Si no fuera por usted, yo no estuviera aquí cogiendo esta oportunidad. Y mamá, muchas gracias por todo su apoyo en este camino. Si no fuera por usted, sus lecciones y el viaje a las Bahías en el 2013, que usted sabe bien, a recoger cebolla. Sin eso, yo no estuviera aquí celebrando con usted. Y por eso, yo le agradezco mucho. Now, my first generation graduates, where are you? As you heard President Embeck recite my story, I have been through many ups and downs. But the ultimate life lesson was, growing up in poverty wouldn't hold me back, but neglecting my education ultimately would. My experience in and out of Guttman built me to do that, to start ventures in social services addressing the challenges of underserved populations. Through entrepreneurial efforts, I want to unite and transform my community, our community. However, Guttman wouldn't be what it is today without its devoted faculty and staff and members of the community that want to see us succeed. Through your encouragement, many of us joined the Student Government Association, United Men of Color, Women of Grit, Phi Theta Kappa, and ultimately Global Guttman. Without your support and dedication, those life-changing experiences wouldn't be possible. And for that, we thank you. Honestly, at first, I am sure many of us wondered if college was a good idea. Research papers, argumentative essays, 20 pages, MLA, APA, cited works. It all seems so complicated, but here we are. Proud graduates, aspiring scholars, and agents of change. Our skills, talents, and abilities poised to transform the world into a place where everyone can succeed, where everyone belongs at the table, where black and brown lives matter. Where there is hope for a world where love is always the answer. And let me conclude this portion of my remarks with the idea of love. Love for self, love for family, love of knowledge, but most importantly, love for each other. Every year, the Student Government Association presents a class gift to the college and the students who will be filling our shoes. Before we became Grizzlies, we stepped into government as Cubs. Grizzly bear Cubs arrive into the world blind, hairless, and toothless. And with the little energy they have to go to their mother for nurturing. By the time spring comes, the Cubs have opened their eyes, grown teeth and fur, and new family is ready to venture outside the den. So we have finally reached our spring. It is my pleasure to present this year's class gift, which is a statue that will stand in the atrium, where you all love being annoying and loud and stuff. I'm annoying too. So it is more than 5 feet high, so clearly we couldn't bring it here today. It's taller than me. Yeah, it's pretty big. But when you see that statue in the atrium, think of the class of 2018. This statue will start a tradition of incoming students touching the grizzly for good luck. They must not touch the statue until it is time for commencement again. This new tradition is symbolizing our growth into Grizzlies from Cubs. Once again, congratulations to my fellow graduates. Que Dios me lo bendiga.
You can tell that Hector's made a remarkable impact, and we love the new tradition. May I ask Tassiano Polino, our 2018 salutatorian, to come to the podium. It's my honor to present her with the salutatorian medal. Thank you. Can I get her to drop your hat, okay? Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, stay up here. As the 2018 salutatorian, she's achieved the second highest grade point average of the students who are graduating. You can read the short note about her amazing life on page 10 in our program book. Today, we present the President's Medal to Dr. John B. King. If there's anyone in our country who could be called Dr. Education, it is Dr. John B. King. He earned his undergraduate degree at Harvard, earned a law degree, earned a doctorate in education, was a classroom teacher, started Uncommon Schools. He was the Commissioner for Education for the state of New York, and during his time in that important leadership role here in the city, he approved the newest community college, Stella, and well, then it was called the New Community College of CUNY. He and his staff could not have been more supportive. After he left that post, he was the Secretary of Education under President Obama, and now he runs the Education Trust, which is the primary spokesperson for supporting students and expecting them to do the best in the country. Every morning I get a lot of emails, and the one that I took time to read this morning was the one on how the Education Trust has come out with an important new report on educational equity in our country. He's identifying the issues. He has a nuanced and deep understanding of everything about education. It's very humbling to be able to present him with the President's Medal, and I'm going to ask the salutatorian to please do that.
Thank you so much, President Evan Beck, for those kind words and for this extraordinary honor. And thank you, Tatiana, and congratulations on your achievements. Thank you also to Lisette Nieves, the chair of the Guttman College Foundation Board, for the invitation to speak with all of you today, as this 5th anniversary commencement marks Guttman as one of the most innovative and inspiring community colleges in the nation. Greetings again to the CUNY trustees, to members of the College Foundation Board, to representatives of the Guttman Foundation, and to other Guttman supporters and dignitaries. Finally, and most importantly, greetings to the students, their families, and their friends. We're here to celebrate you today. As Joseph and Miguel said a few minutes ago, this is what success looks like. When you came to Guttman, you made a choice to invest in the effort to get to this day. You chose not to let obstacles get in your path, whether that was time-consuming jobs or long commutes or family responsibilities. You didn't let any of those things get in your way. You chose to reach out for help when you needed it, from mentors, from advisors, from professors, and from fellow students. It's never easy to ask for help. None of us wants to admit that we need help. But everybody does. Nobody succeeds entirely on their own. And I recommend that you continue that as you go forward, seeking out help from others as you pursue your goals. Life is ultimately about choices, and part of what education confers upon us is a set of options. Doors that were closed to you before you came to Guttman now will be open. Beyond career choices, you'll have choices about how to use the knowledge, skills, and sensibilities you've acquired here to help your family, your community, and the nation. Here you've learned how to work with others in pursuit of a common goal, to push others when they needed it, and to step up when others needed you to do so. And you've learned to value the perspective of others, something critical at this moment when so many of our nation's leaders try to drive us apart. This remarkable college exists in large measure because of a choice that Matthew Goldstein made, who was then CUNY chancellor. A choice not to look away from one of the most disturbing shortcomings of American higher education, the fact that nationally, less than a third of full-time community college students graduate in 3 years. It's true that today more students than ever before are attending college, but not enough of our students are finishing their education, and many leave with serious amounts of debt to pay. It was brave of Chancellor Goldstein to recognize that community colleges within his own system were not immune to this problem. As my friend Amy McIntosh said earlier, CUNY brought together a task force of folks to figure out how to change that reality. They recommended creating a college that had success in its DNA, a carefully designed environment that supported students regardless of their needs. And all of you are living proof that it worked. So consider yourselves lucky. But you and I both know that it was not luck, but pluck that got you through. You're not here by chance, but by design. Hector shared his story. Hector has said that he felt like a failure when he first got here because he had to drop out of school for a while to help his family. But he also says he had the will and the passion to take advantage of the many opportunities to grow, travel, learn, and lead at Guttman. And now he has a full scholarship to attend the University of Rochester, where he plans to study political science and discover ways to combat food insecurity. Your classmate, Melise Douglas, also felt that she had failed because she wasn't admitted to the four-year college she had in her sights. But she says that people at Guttman helped her realize that sometimes you have to move past disappointment, pick yourself up, and move on. They encouraged her to join student government, which sparked in her a fascination for how individuals shape social institutions. And so she plans to study at Baruch College on a scholarship. She wants to work on criminal justice reform and get people to understand that many people who are behind bars got there in part because they were denied a good education in the first place. Congratulations to Melise. Another classmate, Ernest Butts, credits the mentoring and tutoring and counseling he received from the United Men of Color group on campus with helping him to become the first in his family to earn a college degree. He will study public administration and accounting at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. That's right, with a goal of working to help more young people of color finish college. All three of these inspiring students have identified ways not only to advance themselves, but to make a difference in their communities. Many of you have similar stories, and these stories are moving to me in part because in you, I recognize elements of my own journey growing up here in New York City, in Brooklyn. Both my parents were New York City public school teachers. My mother was born in Ponce, in Puerto Rico. She came here to the Bronx. At 5 years old, she learned English in the New York City public schools. And in a classic New Yorican story, she went to Hunter College within the CUNY system and became a teacher and a school counselor. She was actually the school counselor in my elementary school, so I was a very well-behaved elementary school student. My father, who was African American, was born just after the turn of the 20th century and grew up in New York City at a time when the city's neighborhoods were segregated, but also where opportunity in the city was deeply segregated. He also chose to become a New York City public school teacher and principal. Both my parents gave their whole careers to the New York City public schools, and both of them passed away when I was a kid. My mom passed away when I was 8, in October of my 4th grade year. After that, I lived with my father, who was sick with undiagnosed Alzheimer's. And so from one night to the next, I didn't know what my father would be like. Some nights he was sad, some nights he was mad, some nights he would talk with me, some nights he wouldn't. As he got more and more sick, I took on more and more responsibility in our house, doing the laundry, making the food, figuring out how to pay the bills in our house. Home was a very difficult place. But I'm standing here today, I'm alive today because of teachers, because of the difference that school made for me, because I had a series of New York City public school teachers who made school a place where I could be a kid when I couldn't be a kid at home. I had this amazing teacher in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, Mr. Osterweiler. He had us read the New York Times every day in his class. We did productions of Shakespeare, Midsummer Night's Dream. We did productions of Alice in Wonderland. I was the Rose in Alice in Wonderland. Imagine me with big red felt petals sticking out of my head. He took us to the museum and the ballet. He just showed us there was this whole world of possibility outside of Canarsie, Brooklyn. He saved my life. But stories aren't simple. Personal journeys aren't simple. And by the time I was a teenager, I was angry. I was angry at my parents. I was angry at adults. I was angry about the things I had gone through. My father had passed away when I was 12. I'd moved between different family members and schools. I was just angry. Like many young people who've experienced trauma, I was mad and I acted out and I got in trouble. I always tell folks I was the first U.S. Secretary of Education to ever been kicked out of high school. But I hope that I won't be the last, because part of my journey was about people giving me a second chance, people choosing to see in me hope and possibility that I could not even see for myself. You're here today because people made that choice about you, because they chose to invest in you, because people created Guttman to be a community of support, a place that lives the American promise of opportunity. You're here today because the folks who built Guttman understood that investing in you is an investment in the long-term future of the city, the state, and the country. The city and the state and the country will be paid back many times over by the contributions you will make to your families, to your neighborhoods. And I want to argue today that it's time for the state and the city to double down on that bet. It's time for the city, the state, the country to invest in more schools like Guttman to create more opportunity for students like all of you. We spend billions of dollars on a country on things that don't work, that don't make a difference, that don't matter, instead of investing those dollars in things that we know work, like communities like Guttman. Yeah, maybe it's a little more expensive to put in place student supports, but at the end of the day, it's a bargain when you think about the cost per graduate. We need more places like Guttman, and we need to invest in places like Guttman, including investing in that building that I know you all want. Now look, all choices in society come down to choices amongst scarce resources. How will we allocate those scarce resources? And sadly, we live at a time when too often public resources are only scarce for those who need help, not scarce for those who have everything and are greedy for more. Over the past few decades, we've had politicians try to convince us that government can't accomplish anything important. They've tried to tell us that evidence doesn't matter, that poor folks and immigrants aren't deserving of investment and assistance. And now we have folks in DC that each day manipulate the truth for personal and political gain. We have folks in DC who have as their animating principle, their driving principle, greed, concentrating as much wealth as possible in the hands of a few families. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can choose a different future. You represent a different future. You represent the case that investment in public higher education is good for the city, for the state, and for the country. And now, the task for you is to take this gift that you've been given and lead. I want to ask you to make a different country for future generations. I want to ask you to vote for candidates that recognize that we as a nation are stronger when the American dream is reachable with effort by everyone. I want to ask you to call out politicians when they choose to make policies based on false ideologies rather than on evidence. I want to ask you to tell your story, your Guttman story, your college story, your first-generation story, your immigrant story. I want to ask you to tell your story to your city council member, to your state legislator, to Governor Cuomo, to Mayor de Blasio, to members of Congress. You need to tell them why investing in places like Guttman makes a difference, why student supports make a difference in students' ability to succeed in college. Every one of you needs, like Hector and Melise and Ernest, to figure out what is the issue in society that you want to focus on, where you want to make a difference. This month, we mark 50 years since the assassination of Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy was a great leader who reached out to people of every community and called on them to work side by side to help this nation live up to its ideals. He once said, "Every time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance." Although you may find today's politics discouraging, I want to ask you to be the hope, to be those ripples of change, to see and lift up those ripples of change, to lift up the ripples of change when people reject the idea of a travel ban directed at people of Muslim faith. I want you to see the ripples of hope when, whether it's NFL players or the Black Lives Matter movement stands up to say, yes, black and brown lives matter. I want you to see the ripples of hope when we fight to protect the rights of dreamers and to make sure that dreamers have the opportunity to pursue their education. I want you to see the ripples of hope in the Me Too movement and the idea that we need to have workplaces and campuses free from harassment, to see the ripples of hope in young people all across the country standing up against gun violence. You're the hope. You have the opportunity to be the hope for others, for our city, for our state, for our country. You make me optimistic, and I know that Guttman has given you the tools that you need to begin making those ripples that will become that mighty current, that unstoppable force that will open doors of opportunity for all. Your family, your community, your nation need you. Celebrate today, but also look forward to the difference you can make on behalf of others. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join me.
Thank you. Let's thank Dr. King one more time. I now have the pleasure to introduce Professor Nicola Blake, who was voted by our colleagues to be the faculty speaker at this commencement. This is an indication of the respect her colleagues have for her. She is a dedicated teacher, a generous colleague, and a deep thinker about issues that are of great importance to our college. Nicola.
Wow. Feel the energy in this space at this special moment. Take it in and feel it. Do you feel it? I'm not convinced. Do you feel it? Good morning, graduates, special friends, family and guests. It is my greatest pleasure to stand here before you on behalf of your very talented and deeply committed faculty. I thought long and hard about what I wanted to say to you as you take the next important steps in your journey. I thought about my own life, leaving Jamaica at 17, enrolling at City College, working 2 and 3 jobs. One was working at White Castle just down the block from here. That lasted 4 months. I never did quite understand why I had to organize the patties in a specific way on the griddle. I am not much of a rule keeper, so they quickly took me off the griddle. I remember working 3 jobs, feeling uncertain, feeling that there was something rising in my chest, but I couldn't quite tap into what it was or what I was meant to do or be. But I knew in the depths of who I am, there was something deep inside, uncultivated, waiting to be formed. I thought about telling you I graduated from City College to pursue a PhD in medieval literature on a full scholarship and being told that maybe I wasn't prepared to be in the field. I thought about telling you about that momentary feeling of defeat when someone else's narrative of who I am and who I should be infringed on who I knew I was meant to be. I haven't met any other Jamaican, female, black medievalists. Perhaps they had better sense than I did. But I'm no rule keeper or someone bound by boxes or parameters, so I shifted that narrative. All of your faculty members can share with you moments in their own lives when they had to rise above the narratives of others. We all came to Guttman because we recognized that together, as a collaborative, we could reform the way we welcome you into the academy. You see, we enter the spaces and places of our lives with gifts and talents, things rising within our chest, some defined, some undefined, and our job is to manifest these things into existence regardless of the rules, boxes, or parameters set before us. We enter spaces and places with our full selves, embodiments of people who hold value, people who are valid and valuable. So I won't take my time this morning to tell you that I arose from the ashes into a place of success, and that I kicked down doors and continue to dream big dreams, uncharted dreams for what I still have yet to accomplish as an aspiring college president. Yes, the knot still remains in my chest. And as you grow into your careers, your knot will also tighten and ease and tighten again as you find ways to claim what's yours, what you are destined to have in some of these restrictive, tight spaces that need vigorous loosening. I don't need to congratulate you for what you have accomplished on this day, because you were meant to be sitting in these chairs, earning your degree. You worked hard, you dealt with your fears, you excelled in some areas and was made uncomfortable in others. Hopefully, along the way, you also failed a bit and learned something about yourself and about your fellow classmates, and about your family, and about your hopes and dreams. You made choices and sacrifices to earn your degree. You earned this. This moment is one moment in a destiny of great things to come. And you are not finished. You are not finished. We have work to do. So here I am, here you are, here we are, and we are here. Graduates, repeat after me. We are here. I didn't hear that. So now, what are we going to do? My favorite poem, The Summer Day by Mary Oliver, best sums it up for me, and is the poem that keeps me up at night, but it also fuels me on the days when obstacles seem insurmountable. Oliver writes, "Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who's moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who's gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and bless, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Oliver reminds us that individually, we're all unique with special gifts and talents. We can't do what a grasshopper can do, sliding our mouth sideways, and that our limbs and passions are unique to each of us. but she also reminds us that we have one wild and precious life. One precious life that needs us to fully engage to create greater opportunities for ourselves and our communities. We have the ability to change and redefine the parameters set before us. And we need you to be relentless, relentless in your efforts to ensure that we build a world that is equitable, just, and fair. We need critical, engaged thinkers to push into all fields so that sitting in a Starbucks doesn't lead to someone being taken in cuffs. So that we no longer have to stand with Parkland, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Baltimore, Chicago. So that women's bodies are not seen as spaces of equal access. So that we are safe regardless of our religion or sexual preference. So we hold our policymakers accountable and that we never have another Katrina or Puerto Rico. So that lives are not lost at the borders and prisons don't reenact Jim Crow. So that diseases are cured and clean water and proper education are accessible regardless of zip code. I am not here to congratulate you today because in this one precious life, all of you, all of us, we have work to do. We are here together in a space where you have to take on the challenge of entering spaces knowing that you're full of gifts and talents. You have to know this because someone will come along and tell you you don't. And when it happens, you need to ignore it or immediately correct that person. You need to vigorously loosen the tight spaces that surround you. You have to sit up. I want to see everyone sit up. Sit up. Broaden your shoulders, square them up. Lock your eyes on the target. Dig your heels in. Step into rooms. Open your mouth. Pick up your pens, iPads, and Instagram accounts and do the work that needs to be done. You have to silence the narratives of others, and most of all, you have to silence that voice in your head, the one that peeks out ever so silently whispering, "This isn't your fight. You can't make a change. You're not ready. You have no skills. You're going to fail." We all have these voices. And so you have to build real techniques to learn to silence them because they will distract you. That noise will distract you from the work you set out to do and from the unknotting of that tightening in your chest. You have unique and innate gifts and talents, and you always had them. And you are here. We are here. Here we are together. You are ready. You walked through the doors at Guttman, and we saw all of you for who you are destined to be. Great thinkers, great makers, great doers, great citizens, voices of value, valuable. I ask all of the faculty to stand in this moment for our graduates. Tell them, after a count of 2, we see you. 1, 2. We see you. Remain standing, guys. I ask all of the staff and administration to say to our graduates after a count of 2, we see you. Administration and staff, 1, 2. I ask all of our family members, special guests, and friends to say to our graduates after 2, we see you. 1, 2. We see you. You have everything you need within you. Now what will you do with your one and only only precious life. Thank you. I now have the honor to introduce you to our provost, Howard Walk. As the college's chief academic officer, he will present the Valedictorian Medal.
That wasn't bad, huh? There's one more speech to go, and it's not mine. The last speech before we call our graduates to the stage is reserved for the valedictorian of the class. At Guttman, we are serious about listening to the voices of our students, and in many ways, the valedictorian is a leader among the student body. The valedictorian is the student graduating with the highest grade point average. Our valedictorian this year is Manny Heike. Where is he? A remarkable young man. Born in New York, he was raised in Israel, but returned to the United States to attend college. Members of his family in Israel are watching this ceremony live as we stream it online. Shalom to them, especially to his beloved grandmother. Everyone at Guttman who has gotten to know Manny admires him very much. He is a leader in the peer mentoring program and a philosopher by nature. He's the kind of student that professors love to have in their classes. He questions established answers, he engages others in deep discussions, and he has a great and ironic sense of humor. It gives me tremendous pleasure to place the valedictorian's medal around his neck right now, and then to give him the podium. Okay, here it is. Ready? Around that hat. That's the hat. Okay. There we go. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Let me just fix that. Hi. Good morning, associates, and congratulations for getting your degree. A step, no matter how hard it was, whether frustrating or eye-opening. A step, and you took it rather than avoiding it. You stepped on it rather than skipping it. A step that is an achievement and a success in itself. Let me first thank some people who are watching from home and whom, without you, them, or even me knowing it sometimes, I owe more gratitude than can be expressed in English. תודה רבה למשפחה שלי, הכוח שלכם היה לי השראה ממרחקים, ולחברים שלי, שכל חיוך שלכם הוא דוגמה ומופת. And of course to my closest and dearest, who came here today and gave me life, each in their own way. I would also like to thank the staff, the faculty, and specifically my professors for taking me and this whole class through a journey of doubts, perspectives, and inspiration, while letting our own minds grow wild. Thank you from our hearts and from our minds. Thank you. And lastly, one of the main reasons I came to community college, and to Guttman specifically, was you, my peers, my constant challengers and my resilient inspirations. You have exceeded expectations of independent, intelligent, and open minds. I ask you politely this time, please keep doing so. Now, As some of you know, especially if you took some government literature classes with me, I am usually eager to talk about all the ills that forever will be part of our modern society. And though today is an exceptional day, a day where we earn to be empowered and reflect back proud on these 2 years or so of our lives, there is this one pressing matter to me, and they made the mistake of giving me a stage, right? So I want to remember this quote that was said on a day different than this one. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. For those of you who know me, this quote being said here today is not meant for chanting. It's not meant for repeating. It is meant for thinking about and contemplating. It is a day of reflection, after all. And today, over 57 years since it was said, perhaps it's time to ask again, what has your country done for you? What could your country do for you? And unfortunately, I know that I can ask, what has your country done to you? This would be a great time to thank the Stella and Charles Guttman Foundation for allowing your country to give you this educational opportunity. There is almost nothing, as Dr. King said before me, that we do here that is not for our country. We got educated so we can work lawfully, tactfully, and skillfully for our country. Less than 60 years passed, and we took JFK's quote as a burden on our backs. We no longer ask, and we no longer imagine. And I want you to try and answer in your hearts this question that we were programmed not to utter. What can your country do for you? And again, those of you who know me know very well that for me this question has better answers imaginable than attainable. So, I challenge you with a different question today, and will even provide an unsatisfactory answer of my own. This question was buried under that quote for almost 60 years. Its ingredients not even mentioned. Peers, challengers, resilient, independent, and open minds. What can you do for you? What can you do for these smaller countries around you? I mean your family, I mean your friends, I mean your neighborhood, I mean your community. And just as important, don't be ashamed to ask, what can they do for you? The answer should not surprise you. Far more than you could do or receive before you took this step. I would have wished you luck, but the luckiest among you would be independent, even of that charming devil. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Manny, for those words. Thank you, Dr. King, for your words. Thanks to all of the speakers who have inspired and shared wisdom and advice and the sort of things that we need to hear on a day like this. But now, let's get to the point at which everybody is waiting, for which everybody is waiting. The diploma ceremony that we're about to begin. So I want to introduce you to the people who will be assisting in this part of the ceremony. Dean Charles Pryor, our Dean of Student Engagement, who will be handing students their paper recognition of the day, and faculty member Chet Jordan. Chet? There he is, okay, who will be reading the students' names. Scott? May I ask all the graduating students to stand? Wait, let me just... Here is the phrase everyone's been waiting for. President Evenbeck, I have the honor to present to you the college's candidates for graduation and respectfully request that you confer upon them the degrees for which they are qualified.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, and upon recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon all of you who have completed the respective requirements the degree of Associate in Business Administration, Associate in Human Services, Associate in Applied Information Technology, Associate in Liberal Arts and Sciences, Associate in Urban Studies, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, graduates. You may now turn your tassels from the right to the left of your caps. Please take your seats and get ready to come to the stage.
As the business administration students are lining up by the stairwell, we will first hear the students who are sitting on the stage. We will begin with Miguel Almonte, who majored in business administration, and Joseph Witherspoon, also business administration. Now Gabriella Blevins, who majored in liberal arts and sciences, science track. And the members of the SGA executive body, Senators Roisha Biggs, liberal arts and sciences. Jessica Hernandez, liberal arts and sciences. Cremilia Infante, human services. Celeste Morales, liberal arts and sciences. Abdullah Saqib, liberal arts and sciences. Melise Douglas, treasurer, liberal arts and sciences. Secretary, Ernest Joseph Butts, urban studies. Vice President, Kaylin Baglo, urban studies. And President, Hector Castillo Carvajal, liberal arts and sciences. Now, our salutatorian, Tatiana Paulino, urban studies. And Manny Heike, liberal arts and sciences, our valedictorian. And now presenting the students who are graduating with an associate degree in business administration. Haja So. Jarvis Grant. Devon Caramore. Patrice Mitchell. Torrell Daw. Maria Rebelar. Stephen Miguel. Christian Molina. Shane Stone. Mamadou Diallo. Waneri Cologne. Delvin Cruz Tavares. Tiffany Lucane. Raymond Nunez. Marco Delgado. Nineveh Larimore. Ginger Rivera. Or Chuck. Adili Trana. Stephanie Gonzalez. Esteban Perez. Victor Bravo. Pablo Mendez. Dominic Hall. Guadalupe Ortiz. The following students are graduating with an associate degree in human services. Grisel Galicia. Andres Hernandez. Marilyn Antoncuri. Jennifer Bueno. Erica Sanchez. Diana Martinez. Stephanie Mendez. Icy Mendoza. Esmeralda Paris. Kiara Noala Acero. Jasmine Visha. Veronica Santana. Arabia Walsh. Shania David. Janaya Pugh. Erica Roberts. Justin Jules. Samuel Rodas Perez. Leslie Mocasso. Jaylene Beto. Janae Jameson. Sandra White. Jovi Struthers. Quanice Lewis. Najla Hughes Alvarez. Samantha Dennehy. Noelle Morillo. Elisa Martinez. Mariela Lozano. Deja Ruddock. Jonte Taylor. Vivica Henry. Nicole Cruz. Okay. These students will be awarded associate's degrees in applied information technology. Angelo Torres. Vanessa Polanco. Kelvin Acevedo. Jonathan Condor. David Medina. Alan Lee. Anthony Fauci. Albert Oliveira. Emmanuel Brito Corona. Josue Bernier. Marco Morales. Joshua Patterson. Christian Morazan. Where are we at? Is that where we're starting right now? Now for students in our largest program of study, those who have earned an associate's degree in liberal arts and sciences. First, the 17 students who are the first to specialize in the science track. Carlina Feliz. Catherine Morales. Fatu Joby. Marielle Galindo. Shameen Smith Harding. Jasmine Welcome. Krisnalyn Grujong. Cruz Ordaz. Luis Ruiz Ambrosio. Anissa Owens. Monima Miles. Yamalex Burgos. Tusif Jogi. It's fine. Because we just did the first 17. It's fine. Noel Mercado. Haley Baluk. Daniela Acosta. Penelope Dela Cruz. Sholi Begum. Sabrina Ramsahai. Deja Staten. Alexandra Suero Perez. Leonardo Cedillo. Brian Andrade. Candy Navarrete. Diamond Bracy. Edgar Hernandez. Cindy Parache. Esther Hanutina. Kiana Villanueva. Rashida Goodridge. Laura Ruiz. Adisa Pechinovich. Aisha Saldana. David Zenjan. Bianca Garcia. Dana Johnson. Charlene Aurelius. Felicia Partridge. Eileen Ventura. All right. Alex Navarez. Andrea Enriquez. Kayla Negron. Gina Bayo. Ignacia Figueroa. Jersey Hilario. Kaisha McDonald. Genesis Soria. Ashley Rodriguez. Natalie Almonte. Megan Rosa. Manuel Muyi Jibikura. Sasha Hernandez. Leonardo Brooks. Brian Mata. Justin Bryant. Amadarkwa. Sasha Delaki. Angela Washington. Katie Tiom. Samantha Isales. Robin Pacheco. Daliana Donato. Michael Reyes. Nicolina Steinhoff. Jay Bravo. Alexander Gronowski. Destiny Concepcion. Yanavel Sosa. Wanda Vargas. Monica Montenebeca. Maureen Muboyai. Farmata Tall. Alexi Pineda. Irvin Marin. Where are we at? Finally, the students who have earned associate's degrees in urban studies. Cecilia Ortiz. Santi Martos. Marielle Gomez. Joel Bonifacio Cruz. Jorby Suero. Tasreen Rahman. Idris Saleh. Joshua Gallagher. Argentina Maria Vanderhorst. Jordan Ramirez. Christine Delacruz. Malika Archer. Thomas Felix Jr. Mariana Herrera. Zachary Shavir. It's coming next. The last two students, Zachary Shavir and Argentina Maria Vanderhorst, are the co-winners of the Sean Dupassoir Urban Studies Scholarship. A wonderfully engaged and smart student in the 2014 cohort of students, Sean was murdered on June 7th, 2015. We grieve and remember him still and always. The college has established a scholarship in his name. which is awarded every year to graduates of great promise. We honor Zach and ask him to come forward. Now, Argentina, please come up the stairs as well. Shake his hand. Shake his hand. Congratulations to all of our graduates.
Could we have one more round of applause for the graduates? To conclude our commencement, we have asked a first-year student to present a spoken word piece in honor of our graduating students. Joy Murray is a deeply talented graduate of the Academy for Young Writers. At Guttman, she is a human services major, and as befits her major, she spent a lot of time interviewing some of our graduates. She asked them the following questions and wrote her piece around their answers. Now that you're leaving Guttman, what does it mean to you to be a Guttman Grizzly? What is a Guttman memory you'll never forget? What has Guttman helped you to obtain? What has Guttman given you that you can't yet give back because you still need it to continue your journey?
Here we are, here I stand. These dreams are bigger than all of us. You see, I'm afraid of heights, and I'm taking a risk by telling you that this journey, my journey, your journey, it has just taken off. We are flying beyond measures of the galaxy's existence. We do not apologize for wanting better and expecting everyone that encounters us to see our greatness. If I continue to have the mindset that our failures is okay, we will never grow. We will be stuck doing just any and everything. We refuse to jump high and fail and to thank people for wasted time. We refuse to lower our standards. As 2018 graduates, you challenge all the graduates after you for us to fill your shoes. Will we be able to fill them? You and I will forever be a Guttman Grizzly. This is a bear that is bigger than each of us. It is not just a bear associated with our college. We are fearless, relentless, warriors, and mistake changers. A Guttman Grizzly is a bear, but a grizzly bear is a bear, but a Guttman Grizzly is a bear with royalty status. They have been underestimated, but they shine beyond the ranks of existence. And when they are in the light, they are extremely beautiful. The memories that you take with you are meeting the ideal partner for life, making no mistakes, making mistakes, doing them over, taking trips with Global Guttman, bothering Nestor for the 3rd time in a week in his office, tracking down a professor to see the seriousness of your future. Now, as you take friends that you will go on trips with, remember this. I wanted you wanted us to see the journey. This journey is not over. It is bigger than the circles and the events that we will have in the classroom in the atrium. We are royalty. No, I don't think y'all heard me. Y'all are royalty. You, me, our family, everybody that we take with us will be at the head of the success table. We will be sitting at the success table, and we will come to eat. And we're going to eat well. So remember this, and we'll always remember this. Even though we're going to be eating well, the crowns that we wear may tip, but it will never fall.
Wow, thank you. True to our belief that our students should have the last word, I proclaim our commencement completed. Our recessional will begin with those of us on the stage, and then the students will march out. Family and friends, please remain in your seats until after all the students have left the theater. Thank you.